Hello, beautiful soul sisters. I am as ready as I will ever be. Welcome to Empower Her Wellness. And today we're going to talk about communicating with magic to manifest our dream desires into our lives. So, I'm Veronica Rosa, your emotional and life coach, and today we're going to go over a self assessment and see what is our communication and boundary style, and then how we can flip that to work in our best and to work in our best interest. Um, so I just gotta say, I got my praises. So I feel really weird talking. I'm sorry I was gone for a few days. All of a sudden, by me practicing these healthier traits was very, very hard because I used to think that being a good girl was being just saying yes and not setting boundaries and not speaking up my for my truth. And so it's been a practice for me going my communication and setting boundaries. And so we're gonna go over some these traits and what it looks like in a relationship when it's broken, when it's toxic, and then how we can switch our communication and our boundary styles so that it's a healthier version of you of us, and then let the magic come in and see how by setting those healthier boundaries, how you are able to manifest your dreams and goals into reality. So let's talk about our communication style. So if you have your woman's wellness workbook, you can pull up the page. There's a self-assessment page there for you to self-diagnose yourself to see if you have healthy, broken, or toxic behaviors or traits. I would actually would rephrase the word healthy with healed and broken with normal and toxic with being just toxic, because I believe that the majority of us are just broken souls. And then we do go through a dark night of the soul that brings us into toxic, that teeter-totters between toxic and broken traits. And then it takes an enlightenment, an awakening, to help us start practicing new habits and new ways of being that are healthier. And then when you do that, voila, all of a sudden your dreams and goals have manifested into reality. So we're just gonna do a faceless here today because I'm feeling very weird with these braces. So let's go. Let's make this short. Let's make this video short, but let's go over two traits: communication and boundaries. And I want you to identify, who are you? Who is she? Is she broken? Is she toxic? Or is she a healed human being? And so let's explore how communications manifest in relationships through these different lenses. Again, healthy, broken, and toxic. Understanding these can help us recognize our patterns and work towards healthier relationships. So, let's start with actually toxic. Let's start with the toxic communication patterns. So, somebody who has very toxic communication patterns will be aggressive, dominating conversations, and belittles others. So let's talk about how that actually looks like in a relationship setting. Let's use Paul and Rachel as the example. Paul often dominates conversations. He not allowing Rachel to speak or share her thoughts. When Rachel tries to express herself, Paul interrupts, dismisses her opinions, and belittles her. He uses aggressive language and harsh tone, making Rachel feel insignificant and afraid to speak up. This toxic communication pattern leaves Rachel feeling disrespected, silenced, and it erodes the trust and respect in the relationship. So the dominant key traits here in a toxic relationship again is they dominate conversations, they interrupt and dismisses the partner's opinions, and they can use aggressive language and harsh tones, can belittle your partner, and that erodes trust and respect. And this can go either way. It could be you or your partner. You may be exhibiting patterns of toxic behaviors, which could be learned behavior. And so I want you to think about your communication style and think about, is it toxic, is it broken, or is it healthy? So let's go over broken the broken traits, and then we'll go over healthy and how you can practice healthier communication styles. And it'll be scary at first, trust me, when you first begin to um if you're like somebody who's very passive and you're learning how to be communicate your needs and your desires. At first, it may come out like bah, like blurting out, or like aggressive, and then you kind of like teeter totter and you pill as you're taking your power back. You start learning how to communicate with confidence, so that it's not um aggressive, passive aggressive, but assertive. So in a broken relationship setting with a broken traits in communication would come out as withheld communication, avoiding of sharing feelings and thoughts that might exhibit avoiding and sharing feelings and thoughts. So the example is Anna and Mark. Anna finds it difficult to express her feelings and thoughts to Mark. So Anna is has difficult expressing her thoughts and feelings to Mark. She often withholds her emotions, fearing that it might lead to conflict, and Mark won't understand her. Instead of discussing issues, Anna keeps them to herself, leading to built-up resentment and frustration. Mark senses that something is wrong, but feels helpless because Anna won't communicate openly with him. This lack of communication creates distance and misunderstanding between them. So in a broken communication style would be difficult expressing your feelings and thoughts, withholds emotions, you have fear of conflict or misunderstanding. You may also have built up resentment and frustration, creating distance and misunderstanding in the relationship. How would it feel to be able to have a healthy relationship, to be able to communicate openly, honest, and clearly? In a healthy relationship setting, it would look like this. Let's use Tom and Lisa as the example. Tom and Lisa prioritize open and honest communication in their relationships. When an issue arises, they calmly discuss it, expressing their thoughts and feelings clearly. This is like so foreign. Like it's not super foreign, but it used to be extremely foreign. Now it's just kind of like it sounds all fluffy and flu-foo, because this is a major one that I personally been working with my throat chakra, meaning my communication style. And so this is one that I will be practicing at midnight, because at midnight I turn into a pumpkin today. Just kidding. My husband comes home. I'm picking up from the airport, and so he was on a vacation in Puerto Rico for the first time of us being together, and then I'm going on vacation for a week with my mom on a cruise. So it's gonna be interesting practicing these healthier habits and communication and setting boundaries for self-care. So, when communicating healthy, they both actively listen to each other, ensuring they understand each other's perspectives. They use I statements to express their feelings without blaming or criticizing each other. This open dialogue helps them resolve conflicts effectively and strengthens their connection. So, wouldn't it be beautiful if we just all could communicate in a healed, healthy way where there's no fear, there's no doubt, there's no resistance? And so that is the power of working on your throat chakra. Singing, humming also helps you activate the energy in your throat chakra so that you can start practicing speaking your truth with confidence and clarity. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you would like to work further on, and we can do some more work on your throat chakra to heal that throat chakra and communicate with magic. So, what about boundaries, guys? Boundaries, healthy, broken, and toxic. Where do you rate yourself? So, let's explore how boundaries can manifest in relationships through these different lenses: healthy, broken, and toxic. So, understanding these can help us recognize our patterns towards healthier relationships. In a healthy relationship setting, clear and firm boundaries that respects others' limits will demonstrate in the following. Let's use Maria and Jake as the example. They have clear and firm boundaries in the relationship. They openly discuss their individual needs and limits, such as personal space, time for hobbies, and social interactions. They respect each other's boundaries and understand that setting limits is essential for maintaining a healthy relationship. When Maria needs alone time to recharge, which I will be needing alone time to recharge in a cruise, Jake respects her space without feeling rejected. This mutual respect for boundaries strengthens their trust and emotional connection. So the key traits is their open discussions about needs and limits. Therefore, communication is very important to dominate in a healthy way when setting boundaries. Respect for each other's bound. So there is respect for each other's boundaries. There's also understanding the importance of personal space and time. It strengthens this trust and emotional connection. So where there in setting boundaries, you have to be willing for boundaries to be set towards you. You have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with receiving no, and understand that just because you hear no, it doesn't mean you're not lovable. That because like for myself, if I was say come to Walmart with me and he would say no, oh, I thought he was telling me he don't love me. I thought they were fighting words. And so, taking notes on where are you being triggered, write that down in a journal and let this be an enlightenment for yourself in knowing, okay, this is where I need to work in on myself. Instead of pointing fingers, I'm going to start to be that trailblazer and making these healthier habits, and by doing so you are leading the way and showing what you expect and the other and people in other relationships. So let's talk about what does it look like broken boundaries in relationships. So broken relationship setting would be set weak or non-existing boundaries may exhibit in the following behaviors. So example: imagine Emma and David. Emma struggles to set boundaries with David and often feels overwhelmed. She has difficult saying no to David's requests, even when they interfere with her own needs and well being. Emma is constantly prioritizing David's needs for her own, leading to feelings of resentment and exhaustion. David, unaware of Emma's struggles, continues to overstep her boundaries, causing further strain on the relationship. So the key traits in broken boundaries would be difficult setting boundaries, prioritizing your partner's needs over your own, feeling overwhelmed and resentful. Your partner is unaware of boundary issues and could cause strain on relationships. So think about, where do you lie in setting boundaries? Do you have a um healthy bound behaviors, or your behaviors broken, or are they toxic? So in toxic relationships setting, it would be overly rigid boundaries and imposing strict limits on self and others may exhibit the following behaviors. So imagine John and Laura. John has overly rigid boundaries and imposes strict limits on both himself and Laura. He demands that Laura follows his rules without compromise, such as strict set schedules and restricted social interactions. John's rigid boundaries create an environment of control and fear. Laura feels stifled and unable to express her own needs or desires, leading to a lack of emotional intimacy and trust in the relationship. So the key traits in a toxic communication style would be overly rigid and setting boundaries, imposes limits on partners without compromise, creates an environment of control and fear. Their partner feels um, stifled and unable to express your needs, lack of emotional intimacy and trust. So, again, by understanding these examples, we can better recognize our own behaviors and work towards healthier patterns of setting and respecting boundaries in our relationships. It's important to strive for a balance where we can communicate openly, set clear limits, and respect each other's boundaries, fostering trust and mutual respect. So those are the two what do you call it? Those are the two traits, behavior traits that I want you to focus on in the next day, and tomorrow we will look over the traits of accountability and emotional regulation and how do you rate yourself. And so by the end of these 12 different traits, you will have a self-assessment and you will know, okay, I am a broken individual, or I am a toxic individual, or hey, I'm pretty healthy, but I need work here when it comes to empathy or to communication. And so now you're starting to narrow in, pinpoint where is it that you can manifest um into healing your emotional energy center so that you are expressing yourself with love, with trust, with faith. And when you come out with that energy of like trust, love, faith, you rebuke all the negative notions of distrust, fear, doubt, stress, worry. You're rebuking all of those um negative habits that manifest um disconnection within relationships by practicing new habits on our own, by us taking accountability of what we are manifesting into our life, and saying, okay, how am I communicating with these partners, whether it be in love, work, or just relationship, your family, and how can I switch my words, because it's really really about the words and the tones that you use, that we can flip to be able to speak magic and manifest your dreams, your goals, and desires that you never thought was possible. I started practicing really, really holding myself accountable to these practices about 6 years ago. At first I was self-sabotaging because I was feeling victimized, and when we feel victimized, we will either do something that's illegal or immoral. And like for me, if I felt victimized by my husband, or maybe not, maybe it's like victimize not even the word, but maybe I felt hurt by my husband's behavior, toxic behavior. 6 years ago, he was using a lot of drugs, and he's sober now, but he was using drugs and he just was on his high horse, very narcissistic tendencies. And so I was like very broken and hurt, and I let that broken and hurt turn toxic because I felt victimized. And so the victim mentality will do something that's illegal or something that's immoral. I was like, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna get back with you, girlfriend, come pick me up, let's get drunk, let's go to party, I'll show you. And that action was actually deviating my goals for soulmate love, for communication, trust, loyalty, faith, unity. And so I had to be the trailblazer and say, okay, even though I feel victimized or hurt, let's use the words, even though I feel hurt, I'm not gonna lash out. I'm not gonna get back at you. I'm not gonna go get drunk. And I started creating a daily habit tracker and say, okay, if I want love with my husband, I'm gonna have to forgive him and I have to show gratitude. When he comes home, I'm gonna change my tone. Instead of being broken and toxic, communication styles, I started practicing uh healthier communication styles and setting boundaries. And at first it was very triggering when I was started setting boundaries, like, I'm gonna drink some tea. Like, that pissed them off even more, to see me not engaging in toxic behaviors, because it was a big reflection on him. And so at first it may trigger, even at first you may be like broken, and when you try to do healthier, it may trigger toxic reaction from people around you, because they're like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to, you're acting out of your character. And then that's a reflection on them. So I want you to do a daily habit tracker, at least for one day, until we get to the next trait tomorrow, which is accountability and what was it? Accountability and adaptability. No, accountability and emotional regulation. So today I want you to think about, what is my communication style? How clear am I setting boundaries? Do I set boundaries? If not, how can I start setting boundaries and start practicing little baby steps on making healthier choices in your communication and setting boundaries for your self-care needs. So I hope that this helps you. Let me know in the comments. If you do not have your Women's Wellness Workbook, you can now purchase it online. You can get your ebook, your e-workbook at vitalityvalueswellness.com. I'm Veronica Rosa, emotional wellness and life coach, and I can help you manifest your dreams and goals into desires by taking small little baby steps and taking accountability in what's no longer working for you, and giving you a guide, being a guiding light for you to practice different um traits that are not your dominant traits, so that you can see, wow, this is all magic. It's all how I communicate. I can really grab the bull by his horns and take control of life. Instead of reacting, I will be the leader of and in charge of my life. And you'll just start to blossom as you start to make these your everyday habits. So I hope that this helps you, and that you this resonates with you. And until tomorrow, we'll keep this short. I'll see you. Okay. Send you much love and joy. Bye.